want to go to Rebeccah Heinrichs and what she makes of all of this. Rebeccah, of course, of the Hudson Institute, the senior fellow there. Rebeccah, now it's kind of locked into place, and if she were to back out of the trip, even Mitch McConnell and other prominent representatives are saying it certainly wouldn't look good like we cowed to pressure that she did. What do you think?
No, I think that she should go. I also think that the trip should be bipartisan, just like it was back in 1997 when Newt Gingrich was Speaker of the House and he brought Congressman Dingell with him. It should be bipartisan. So all of these Republicans who are saying she should go should follow up with that saying, and I will go with you if she wants me to. Every single one of them. The more they can show solidarity with her to bolster up her courage and to go, the better. And remember, President Biden has now 3 different times said that he defends Taiwan, and then the White House has walked his statements back 3 different times. So this trip would be more than symbolic. It would really be shoring up, I think, U.S. credibility and resolve for defending Taiwan.
You know, you mentioned the last time something like this happened when Newt Gingrich and some other Democrats, that's 25 years ago, right? And so you could argue it's a different world. China's in a different place. It's militarized scores of islands in the neighborhood. And I'm just wondering whether we're playing with fire. Democrats seem to be sensing we are. Republicans say the hell with it. If we want to go, we can. If anyone in the power structure in either party wants to go, they should. So how would the Chinese respond if after all of this, Nancy Pelosi still goes, and to your point, maybe even brings a couple of Republicans with her? I just can't, to your point, see her backing out without this looking like we caved.
That's right. I think that the Chinese will think that they have to do something. I'm quite confident that it's not going to be harming the speaker. But of course, our military should be very clear that nobody should lay a hand on the American Speaker of the House. They will fully defending her, just like they will.
Would they really do something like that, Rebeccah? I mean, you talk about playing with fire. That's almost World War III right there.
Well, that's exactly right, Neil, and that's essentially what they're implying, and I don't think that that's what they would do. But of course, I always want to say that we should have some humility in what we are assessing what our adversaries will and won't do. Another important point here too, you know, we keep calling China a competitor, and that was something that the Trump administration started wearing. You know, great power competition. The kind of language we're talking about now, the potential, you know, threatening the American Speaker of the House for a trip to Taiwan, which she's perfectly allowed to go to. I mean, we are in a different situation. They're an enemy. The Chinese Communist Party is clearly an enemy. One more point I would make, Neil, is that, you know, the speaker's national security advisor told the Chinese when the Chinese objected to the trip to Taiwan in '97 that the Chinese Communist Party does not dictate the travel of the American speaker. It's going to be up to the Speaker of the House to determine if that is still true. And that's going to give us a big indicator about where the United States is vis-a-vis China and who is calling the shots in the Indo-Pacific more broadly.
You know, is it my imagination, Rebeccah, or are the Chinese doing a lot more and a lot more quickly, buying up all this land in the United States, particularly Florida, a lot of agricultural areas, some of them in Florida very near military bases. That's a side issue. This ongoing militarization and threatening activity in the South China Sea, taunting Taiwan. It prompted air raid drills in Taiwan. It's really speeding up, and you would think, given the problems in Ukraine that Russia's having, and China, an economic power in its own right, that wouldn't ever want to risk the same type of boycotts and penalties, would not be doing this, but it is. What do you think?
I think it senses a weakness on the part of this administration. I think they are sensing that now is the time. If they're going to do something big, now's the time to do it. I mean, this buying up American land, I mean, that's literally owning the United States of America, something that our country should prohibit, not allow. I mean, TikTok should be banned in the United States. These DJI drones that they're owned by the Chinese Communist Party shouldn't be allowed in the United States. There are so many things that the United States is still permitting. I mean, the enemy is inside the gate at this point, as you point out, Neil. And so, yes, the military activity is continuing, but this is why I'm so concerned. You know, all of these activities are bolstered by the fact that the Chinese Communist Party is so confident in their military, and Taiwan is really the prize for them. And so that's why the contest over Taiwan is so important. The United States cannot permit them to take that island by force, this democratic ally of the United States. And so that's why I think with all of these problems we just discussed, we've got to get the military piece right, even as we take care of all these other domestic problems.
Yeah, to your point, it's about the signals we send. Rebeccah, great job again. Good to have you. Rebeccah Heinrichs on all of that.